What's up, everybody, and welcome to another show. I'm Drew. That is the one and only Scott Savage, and a bit of housekeeping before we even get started. This Friday, April 2nd, we will not have a show, Scott. We're actually going to take a holiday. It's going to be a holiday over here in the Canadas, and we're going to take the day off and probably play a whole lot of games. Scott, you playing this weekend?
Oh, I'm definitely playing a whole lot of games. I've got some catching up to do.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be playing Outriders, Last Oasis. Dude, before we even get started, let me tell you about Last Oasis last night. I jumped into Last Oasis, and I had an unfortunate experience. We'll put it that way.
No.
Nate and I were trying to get together and hook up on one of the little islands there, and I'm out doing my own thing. I'm gathering up a bunch of cactus because I need to make water to travel with my walker to the next part. And I can hear my grappling hook just kind of clicking, and it's latching, and it's going. And I'm like, what is going on? Turns out, dude, it was not my grappling hook. It was somebody else latched onto my walker, came at me with a club, took me out. I died instantly. Like, I was almost like 2 swings, and that was it. I had an axe, they had a club. I didn't stand a chance. I am gone at this point. So I have an option to spawn back my walker, but it's not really a good option because I have no water, which means I cannot spawn at my walker. So I spawn in the middle of the desert somewhere, and it takes me 20 minutes to walk back to my walker, which they've had control of the entire time I was gone. It was one heck of an experience, Scott. It was welcome to the Last Oasis, buddy.
That is rough.
Oh, I was so mad last night. But either way, this is ITG Daily, the show where we bring you the hottest in gaming news each and every weekday, Monday to Friday, except this Friday, however. But you can always be a part of the show. You can join us live on twitch.tv/theofficialitg, over on Twitter, where you can answer or send us your questions at theofficialitg, #ITG Daily, on our Discord, and of course inside the game.ca. You can find this on all the audio podcast services around the world, YouTube and TV streaming platforms later as well. Scott, we got a jam-packed episode, buddy. We're talking about Pikmin Mobile. That's a thing. Mortal Kombat gets delayed, and CD Projekt Red is all over the news. They are everywhere to be found. But let's get things off with some Pikmin Mobile. First up, Niantic is bringing Pikmin Mobile. They recently got purchased by Nintendo. It has now been partnered as a first-party studio, and they're bringing Pikmin as an app. It is currently known as just the Pikmin app right now. Starts by giving players several Pikmin seedlings in an item bag. Seedlings grow by absorbing step energies. So it's a mobile app that you take on the go with you. They're going to bring in expeditions and postcards. This way of exploring the core mode of the Pikmin app is expeditions. There are campaigns where players can send Pikmin to collect seedlings or other items at places they've previously visited. Scott, you're into Pikmin a little bit, are you?
I have a little bit of experience with Pikmin, mostly from watching a roommate of mine. I secondhand got to experience the emotional toll that Pikmin can have on somebody.
They launched Pikmin on Pikmin 3 came to the Switch, and that was a pretty big hit. But I don't know about the whole Pikmin Mobile. Niantic's, obviously coming off of Pokemon, making that a huge deal just not too long ago at all, and now we're getting into a Pikmin kind of AR reality experience as well. We'll see how that goes. I'm expecting some pretty big numbers, but I don't think they'll go nearly as high as Pokemon.
Yeah, it is missing just that overall appeal. There's a whole generation of people that will eat up anything Pokemon related, and that's obviously less so for Pikmin. There is still a core that will, I'm sure, appreciate a new entry into any sort of Pikmin series is great news to them, but that amount of people is much smaller, understandably.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Let's move on to the world of Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat movie has been delayed, Scott, by a whole week. The upcoming Warner Brothers movie adaptation was pulled from the video game series, obviously. It has been delayed now. The original schedule was for April 16th to air on HBO Max and in theaters, but now it's coming on April 23rd, just a week out. They've been delayed several times already due to the pandemic. No big shocker here. It's just kind of something we expect now these days, don't you think?
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I'm still, fingers crossed, really hoping for that theater release. I'm super excited about seeing this Mortal Kombat. If I can go see it in theaters, I'll be way more excited. And if I have to wait a week, I will wait the week. That's unfortunate, but I have a feeling that it's a choice made for the better
No,
overall.
I would think so too, but a week doesn't seem like that much. Like, what's really going to change over the course of a week? Apparently a lot when it comes to the world of editing. So we'll see what happens there. Take all the time they need, right? Like, Mortal Kombat is one of those movies that I remember growing up with, seeing and kind of being cringeworthy now when you look back at it. But this one looks pretty promising, man. Some of these like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, dude, like classics are coming out, and I'm pretty pumped for this movie.
Oh yeah, I can't avoid but be hyped for it. The older movies, to me, I think I was young enough that I just skipped right over the cringe factor entirely, and I have only solid memory of those two movies, and especially the first one. And now to see anything come out with the name Mortal Kombat in the movies is awesome. They did a soft boot of a TV series that lasted for a little while.
Oh,
that was interesting, but
really?
I'm hoping that this kind of brings about a new wave of Mortal Kombat stuff. Hopefully they get away from what they were trying to do in the 2000s that didn't really work out. But I'm still excited, holding hope out for this one.
Well, it is rated R too, so that's kind of a good direction. I didn't want PG-13. Then they're going to hold back what really kind of puts Mortal Kombat on a whole different level, right? You get the fatalities. You think we're going to see any of those within the movie?
Oh, because of that rating, I have to think there has to be something.
I would hope so. All right, should we get on to the main topic of today? Because yesterday there was a whole bunch of releases come out with more Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red. Cyberpunk 2077 players show game is still a big old mess after hundreds of fixes. The March patch 1.2 patch takes aim at everything from police AI to small funny oversights like typos. The list of fixes can be found over on the CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk site. There are a ton of things, but they're still experiencing huge problems. One of the streamers has experienced and made a clip that when they spawns in his car, Scott, there will be multiple cars that then just sets off just a ton of explosions. AI from the police have been still a huge problem. They're looking at trying to fix how hardcore they can come at you. You set off a small crime, they'll be jumping on you instantly, and then it's just not working, man. The game seems to be just one hiccup after another, and it keeps coming back in the news because it just doesn't stop, Scott.
Yeah, it is something to be said about that, though. The fact that people are so about the game to be just digging through all of these fixes, seeing what does and doesn't work. People are still interested, and that tells me that this game has a lot of staying power. And if it survives its controversy, it could be the beginning of a whole new IP. Cyberpunk is really cool, and I understand it's aged over time. So I'm still hoping that they fix the game and get it under wraps. It's interesting that they can have a list of fixes that are super long.
Oh man,
but it still is just scratching the surface.
No, it truly is. One of the instances you can find it on YouTube. One of the YouTubers comes out of his car and throws a grenade, and everybody gets out of their car all at once at the same time. And he looks away, comes back, and then they just disappear. Like it's just one glitch after another. And take note too, it's still not on the PlayStation Store at all.
Yeah, wow, that is a big missing title there.
Exactly. So it's just nonstop right now. All these fixes. The patch was 44 gigs. Brad and I talked about it the other day. This is just insane to see the amount of fixes, and there's still, every time you have a fix, it always kind of seems to trickle down and have another complication, and that's exactly what has happened here. And it's just nonstop right now. Plus, CD Projekt Red has canceled its standalone AAA Cyberpunk multiplayer game. The company is instead focusing on bringing online into all of their franchises one day is their plan. CEO Adam said over that he released on Tuesday in a video they had live over on their own feed on YouTube. You can go watch that. It's like a 24-minute video, but we'll break it down here for you right now. Previously, we hinted that our next AAA title would be a multiplayer Cyberpunk game, but we have decided to reconsider this now. Given our new, more systematic and agile approach, instead of primarily focusing on one big online experience or game, we are focusing on bringing online into all of our franchises one day. Scott, what do you think about this move?
I'm puzzled because I don't quite. I'm not sure exactly what he means by that specifically, because traditionally you just have a multiplayer mode stapled to the game.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the way it's been for a long time. So to hear that there even was a AAA Cyberpunk multiplayer side game is interesting by itself. I think it's kind of just a reaction to putting the brakes on. They were ready to go full steam ahead into Cyberpunk. That was going to be the large project and the new wave of IPs, the fad, so to speak.
Yeah.
Coming out of that company, but they just had to reverse course now due to all of these errors. That's really unfortunate, but again, I wanna hope that this is done with a lot of thought and a lot of weighing the pros and the cons of each decision. And I hope this is truly the proper decision, where they will be able to turn out something of value with less bugs eventually. And I can wait. I'm not super thirsty for the Cyberpunk content. I'm thankful for the bugs in that regard.
Sure.
There's a lot of games coming out constantly all the time, but
yeah.
I wonder what other franchises they're referring to. Is there ever going to be a multiplayer Witcher?
Well, that's just it, right? They said, regarding online, we are changing our approach. We want to have online in our future games, definitely, but step by step. So they're looking to bring back games, bring back the multiplayer for, it sounds like, The Witcher. There's going to be some kind of Witcher component online that's going to happen. I'm not sure how that is going to kind of play out. We actually started working on online components over 2 years ago, and we just continue. The only change is that we continue to work on it, not as a main production line, but as a supportive production line together with our single player productions. That's a whole lot of productions going on. But we believe that our idea, once they will be revealed, will be very exciting for gamers as an extra experience in our worlds, which will fit single player games. So you got to think that does involve the world of Witcher.
It seems to. I'm not familiar with other large-scale products that have come from CD Projekt Red.
It's mostly The Witcher, really. I think that's where they really kind of stood out. Witcher 1, 2, and then 3 just exploded. They said they're still going to be focusing on having it as an RPG story heavy focus is with their company still is their main goal, but it's still something that they want to tap into with the multiplayer side because it brings in the longevity. Nate's right now in chat over on twitch.tv/theofficialitg and says that there's going to be 10 pieces of DLC coming to Cyberpunk. Like, man, okay, that's
a lot of DLC.
There's just a lot going on right now in the world of CD Projekt Red. But when it comes to this online component, you think they want to fix what they already have going, Scott, with the fact that Cyberpunk is still is known as one of the biggest catastrophes this year for gaming. This year, say December-ish, right? You're still kind of classifying it as 2021 because it's just ongoing.
Yeah, that is not the record they were going for, I'm sure.
No,
it'll be interesting to see now that they've canceled the side project, or rather, a whole entirely new development for multiplayer Cyberpunk. Are they going to just bring in Cyberpunk multiplayer aspects and just put it in the main game? Is that part of this 10 DLC packs? I have a lot of questions that I'm, concerned about. Cyberpunk going forward.
Yep. Well, Cyberpunk and The Witcher alone, right? How do you implement online component for Witcher. They have Gwent, the card game, which will continue, and it's its own standalone game now at this point as well, but you can still play it within the main story of Witcher 3. So that's there. But do you introduce like a la Watch Dogs kind of scenario for Cyberpunk maybe, or something along that line where people can kind of come in and mess with your world, or they can join up and maybe you can do a co-op mission together? I see the process of why you would want to have multiplayer extends the longevity of your game, but when your game doesn't work to start with, like we keep talking about with Cyberpunk, that should be the main focus. Because if now they're also talking about doing a relaunch for 2022 with the game, like there's just so much going on here, Scott.
I can see how it's tempting for them to want to start over, refresh, but I don't think everybody's going to forget.
No.
So I kind of think that's a fruitless endeavor.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it continues again. CD Projekt is now talking about their development of Witcher and another Cyberpunk AAA games simultaneously starting in 2022. It's staffing up and working on improving its technology as well as sharing developers between both games. During a strategy update presentation over on their YouTube channel, CD Projekt Red outlined how it's going to achieve its goal to develop 2 AAA games in 2 different franchises simultaneously. Scott, like, what is up here, man? Oh,
taking another big bite out of their franchises here.
Oh my goodness! It's just I'm baffled. I'm really baffled by this announcement. So they're going to start ramping up for production with 2 games. One they don't even have finished properly yet, and then they're going to work on another Cyberpunk game and The Witcher. I'm like, okay, I get The Witcher, absolutely. It's been dormant now for a while. Witcher 3 has been a long time and is on last gen. You can play it on next gen, but it's still not the same fidelity of next gen consoles. But Cyberpunk is your main focus. Do you think you would focus on getting that polished up first? We want to be sure that we can work with 2 global brands at the same time while ensuring top quality of our products, said the CTO Powell. Like,
they have to circle back around to that in almost every statement, though. That's to be expected a little bit. It's definitely on everybody's mind.
Absolutely.
Just, please don't even drop a release date.
What?
Just don't even mention.
Don't announce it. Don't say anything. Don't just leave it. Right?
Maybe 2024 we'll get one. Just put a year would be satisfactory.
It's just you gotta leave it, right? So I'm thinking, okay, production may be starting for their next projects in 2022. You got to focus on with the company and see what's ahead, right? What are you working on next? But again, we keep coming back. It has also outlined its plans for 2021 with Cyberpunk 2077, which will receive patches, updates, free DLC, and a next-gen update as well. But it's just, it keeps going because now they're talking about The Witcher 3. Next-gen update will be released in the second half of 2021. The news was announced again at their strategy update. The next-gen edition of The Witcher 3 will be released as a standalone purchase for PC, Xbox Series X and S, and the PlayStation 5. But let's also take a note, if you own the game on PlayStation 4 or Xbox and PC, it's a free upgrade, which is nice. But it's also being developed by Saber Interactive, the team that brought us the Witcher 3 port to the Nintendo Switch. So, okay, cool. Nice to see that CD Projekt Red isn't working on this. But dude, can you imagine a Witcher 3 upgrade? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that is a sizable project. Just even to dial that resolution up a tiny bit, I can imagine there's a lot of work behind that. And Witcher 3 is such a giant behemoth.
Absolutely. It's massive, right? So it kind of makes me want to go back and play it. But now that they're going to be coming here, dude, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I want to see what else we can get out of this next-gen hardware that's going to improve The Witcher 3 even more. I wanted to go back to it for so long. I put in like 25, 30 hours and it just kind of got away from me. But it's just been nuts. GameZub's looking for some Biomutant news. Dude, what you got for us? Because we got nothing as of right now. Just the release date of May 25th. So keep your eye on that. The minute we hear more on Biomutant, we'll be covering it. Right now, dude, it's all about the Witcher 3 port. And I'm excited. Saber Interactive is a good development team. Whether or not they can bring us an outstanding port is yet to be seen. because yeah, you can play The Witcher 3 on Switch, but it's really not meant for the Switch, Scott. Not at all.
Yeah, it is just very large. A lot of things loading, grand vistas. It's not exactly optimized for the Switch.
No, not really, right? Like, there's just so much on the go over there. It's just not ready to go for that yet. I wouldn't think anyways. But should we move on to game announcements? Because we have what is now going to be our next April month of gold. Let me get this flipped over. There we go. So we have Xbox games with golds. We're going to be getting the Vikings Wolves of Midgard, Truck Racing Championship, Dark Void, and Hard Corps Uprising. Got any of these kind of on your radar?
I've seen a little bit of some art about Dark Void.
That's an old one, man.
That, I really am not familiar with these titles, so I'm curious to jump in. It's interesting to have some completely new to me things brought in for free. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Viking Wolves of Midgard sounds interesting too. I'm enjoying this big wave of Viking content that we've had this year.
Sure.
And so I'm hoping for some good gameplay there.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while. Like all of a sudden now it's just Viking content, right? But yeah, Dark Void, voiced by Nolan North, I believe. You couldn't quote me on that. I'm almost positive. Let's move on to the week of Stadia. Stadia is finally in our news. Finally, I've been looking for Stadia because Scott and I, we both enjoy our Google Stadias. I don't care what's going on right now. Actually, I'm very concerned what's going on right now. But let's get into Stadia because this week, if you're a Stadia Pro member, you're getting Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Gold Edition, SpongeBob, Ease, and dude, what is that last one? This Pikakukumbu? It's cute, it's puzzly, and there's something creepy lurking underneath. It's I don't know if I'll check that one out, I gotta be honest. But also on March 31st is our last chance. So today is your last chance to get Steam World Quest, Steam World Dig 2, Super Hot Control Delete, F1 2020, and Hotline Miami. They'll be leaving Stadia Pro soon, so make sure you grab those. You can also check out Hitman, the free starter pack. That game is sick. Also coming to Stadia is Killer Queen Black, Trine 4, The Nightmare Prince, which is awesome. I love the Trine series. I Platinum 3 on my PS4. PS4. It's so cool. I love the Trine. We actually, my son and I, beat it together. The whole thing was co-op. It was fantastic. Definitely you need to pick that game up. Disco Elysium is coming. Outriders is also out, coming tomorrow. Cosmic Star Heroing, Cameo Heroes, Legend of Heroes, Trials of Cold Steel 3. And you can also get Elder Scrolls Online for free for 2 weeks. That's not a bad deal at all if you're looking to check that out. And of course, Hitman 3 Deadly Sins content is on its way. Make sure to check that out. The new Season of Greed is here. I will be jumping back into that. I have it right now on Stadia and my Xbox Series X. Very, very cool. Scott, when's the last time you touched your Stadia, man?
Oh, it has been a little while now. I feel like I've been trying to fight against this wave of releases.
Non-stop, dude.
Yeah, the gameplay list is just growing and growing. So I've had a hard time exploring on my own for games, but I do enjoy my Stadia, and there's a lot of things coming to it now. So this is good news. I'm really curious to see a lot or any content for that matter coming to Hitman 3. I have a really big hunger growing for that game, and I'm super curious to see what they're adding to it, even though it's so new. But also for Stadia to jump into Elder Scrolls Online, even though it's 2 weeks for free, that's 2 weeks is more than enough time to dip your toe in the water, see how you like the game, and make that decision. Maybe you want to come back. There's a huge amount of content that seemingly just keeps coming. So if you're a fan of MMO or just action RPG in general, that's definitely going to be a good find for you.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's I've tried it, man. I cannot get into it. Like, my brother's in there and he's played hours upon hours. I know you're a fan. I know Nate, I think, kind of dabbled in it as well. I can't personally get into that series, and it's so disappointing because it looks incredible, man. Content drops all the time. There's always something new. There's always dragons are in there. Like, it looks so cool. And I just not clicking, dude. Not clicking at all. There's other games, though, that are on their way as well. First-person action RPG Empire of Ember is now available on Steam Early Access. Story-driven Oz-esque adventure Scarlet Hood and the Wicked Wood. Steam release date is set for April 8th. Amnesia Rebirth gets adventure mode on Steam. Basically, if you don't want to be attacked and get the crap scared out of you, you don't have to anymore. So that's a nice little touch. Maybe I can play it now. Breathtaking Armed Heist adds co-op multiplayer support to the critically acclaimed third-person shooter over on iOS and Android. And lastly, I think we have is from Motion Twin and Evil Empire. Today releases the 23rd update for Dead Cells. Dude, that game is just incredible. It keeps going.
Oh yeah, I took a good stroll with that game for a little while to get a handle on that sort of a game, because I hadn't played anything similar to it in some time, and that game is solid. So to see that they're dropping the 23rd free update seems excessive, but wow, what a success they hit.
No, for sure. Scott, why is wrap this up and let us know what is out for today?
All right, today we have a pretty healthy list. There is a DLC dropping to Binding of Isaac on PC. That is the Repentance DLC. And then we have Rumors from Elsewhere on its way to PC. Drive-By coming to the PC and Switch. How to Win on PC. The Mansion on PC. Drifters on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Nanotale coming to the PC and Stadia systems.
Stadia, I like it.
And then we have A Hat in Time, Yakuza Metro coming to PS4. Out Buddies DX on PS4. Squad Killer on PS4 and Switch. And it appears that I've messed this up and added this to the list twice. We have A Hat in Time, Yakuza Metro, also coming to Xbox One.
Nice.
Then Escape from Life Inc., Xbox One and Switch. Rainbow Corns coming to the Switch. And Stormtail as well coming to the Switch.
There we go. That is it for March 31st. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the daily show bringing you the hottest news each and every day, Monday to Friday at twitch.tv/the official ITG podcast services around the world, insidethegame.ca, and of course, your TV streaming platforms. Until tomorrow, we'll see you inside the game.